Hello, happy design. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Good, blessed, and highly favored, as we all are. Well, my name is Regina, and I'm a podcaster and I'm a radio host as well. I do more than that, but definitely I have an amazing mother here with us today.
Hmm.
And she's going to let you know who she is, what she do, and where she from.
My name's Ashley Winters. I am Baby Cash's mom. He's forever 3, and I'm from Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay, you close to me. Okay,
Yeah. Where
Yeah,
you
she
at?
close to me too.
I'm in Cincinnati.
Ah, yeah, you get neighbors.
Yeah, you ain't that
Okay,
far from me, so
not
I can
at
drop
all.
down there. Yeah, yeah, I can do it in an hour.
Yeah, it's an hour. Yeah.
Last but not least, we have my co-host here today, and he's gonna tell you who he is, what he doing, where he's from.
Y'all already know this your boy Kings. I'm an actor and or podcaster, content creator. I partner with a clothing brand called Genuine Vibes Only. If you're not genuine, stay from around me. I'm originally from East St. Louis, but I stay in St. Louis, Missouri. Back to you, Gina.
All right, so I want you to tell your story. I mean, it's nothing nobody can tell your story but you. So
Yeah.
start off with telling your story. Give us a background. What's
Okay.
going on about
Okay.
the situation.
Yeah. So I'm on Facebook as Baby Cash's mom, of course. I'm advocating for him. Unfortunately, April the 19th of 2023, I lost him to fentanyl poisoning while he was in the care of his father. Um, Backstory is he's not getting any justice. So that's why I want his story to be told unapologetically from start to finish. It's uncomfortable for some people, but other people can relate. I'm trying to prevent another death, another child, a baby, a toddler, um, from losing their life, just like my baby did. So to start, um, I was a single mom of 2 kids before Cash came along. At 26 years old, I decided to experiment with cocaine at first with someone very close to me that I had known for 14 years. And I trusted this person. I had got proposed with trying that, cocaine before, and I never trusted it from somebody else. And I never wanted to do any other drug besides weed. And I did an X pill here and there, but this is 2010. Yeah, about 2010, 2012 ish, where that fentanyl wasn't known. So, fast forward, I started experimenting with the cocaine at 26 years old. A couple of months in, I realized I didn't really like the cocaine. So, because of the sniffling of the nose and the draining and the taste in your mouth, I didn't care for it. So I decided to quit doing it. And
Mhm.
said person, they seen because we were doing extracurricular activity. We wasn't just sitting around doing that. This
Mhm.
person liked things done in the bedroom, and he wanted us to get out of our zone while we was doing what we was doing. So we experimented with drugs, and I was experimenting with drugs, because I'd never done it. And so he seen that we were still doing these things, and I wasn't as high as him. So he wanted me to try crack cocaine. And at the time, I was very illiterate about what crack cocaine was. I didn't know that it was a little white block of mixed up cocaine with baking soda and things like that. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So he didn't tell me on my first hit that it was crack cocaine. He was like, just hit it. It's cocaine in another form. Those are his exact words. And I'm
Mhm.
thinking I'm just going to be doing this powder, but they just put the powder on the pipe and light the pipe up. I hit it. I didn't feel nothing. He said, "No, you're not holding it in strong enough." So I hit it, and I felt that tingle, and I'm like, Well, okay, what is this? I can get on board with this." And he couldn't even look me in my eyes because he knew my background. I'm the baby of 7, and my dad raised all 7 of us by herself because my mom, she did venture. They divorced, and she ventured off into the drug world, and one of her drugs of choices was crack cocaine. So I always told myself, as a mother, as a person, I just never would do it. I ain't gonna do what my mama did. I'll never do it. And here I found myself addicted like that quick. It was that appetizing to me. Like it really was something that I enjoyed. And once he told me that once I asked him what it was and he couldn't look me in my face, he was like, "It's crack cocaine." And I'm like, "Are you serious? You know, this is what we've been smoking." And he's real adamant about, "Oh, you're not gonna be like your mom." He knew my history. He's like, "You're not gonna be like your mom," and just trying to sway me to stay into that in being an addict. And I thought I wasn't until you know, I was the one that had to start making the moves to go get the dope when it ran out, and it got to a point where he started smoking repetitively, like it was just so much intake. And here I am, just cruising on my pal. I go to the bathroom, I come back, my pal's gone. So I'm getting mad, like, why are you taking my drugs? Why are you taking my stuff? And oh, I just needed a hit. Can you go get some more? So it would go from me going to go get some and bringing back the whole sack to seeing how greedy he was to where I would end up pinching off of it. And I think that's when my addiction started because it wasn't like every single day I did it. It started off once a weekend and when his check came or he had some extra money to spare and things like that. So it started off really slow. But the more I hung out with him, that's when I became the addict. Like I started pinching off the bag, started going to buy, you know, saying I was only buying so much or really bought more and things of that nature. So that took a hold of me within a year and a half. The first year actually of my addiction, I was okay. I maintained. I kept my kids in school, kept their clothes, kept them fed. You know, even though I was a single mom and I didn't have a job at the time, I was a government assistant mom. So, but I wanted to be a full time mom at home and spend as much time with my kids. That was my motto. So I didn't think a job was really that important. Which cash ended up changing. So that's why he's so important to me. But yeah, so from there, where after a year and a half, I felt something was off with me. I felt myself slipping. I felt like I was failing my kids because we did get the lights cut off. We did have to sleep at the neighbors because the water was off, or go take a shower at the neighbors. Had to ask the neighbors for ramen noodles because I'm smoking up money. Then this prostitution started where I got on the chat lines and started reaching out to men, and it wasn't. It was so out of character for me, and I'm seeing this. I'm seeing my life unfolded, and I wrote in my journal. I'm like, I feel like something's off. Like I'm about to lose my kids. And no sooner than I wrote that entry into my journal, I got pulled over. That happened in like May when I wrote that entry, and September the 2nd of 2016. Because now I'm like a year and a half, almost 2 years into smoking. 28 years old. And so 2016, me and my dope dealer uh, got pulled over or traffic stop. And of course, he had the dope. I had some dope in my purse, things of that nature. Got my first charge. I'd never been in trouble, never went to jail, didn't have to experience that. I wasn't a criminal. So that was my first experience with jail. I spent 5 days there, and that's when my secret came out to my family that I was using cocaine. I lost trust. I lost. I lost. I lost a lot. I ended up losing a lot after that traffic stop. CPS got involved because I was on assistance. So they got involved and they wanted to see what I was living like and what I was doing and if I was going to better myself. So they came in, they was like, "We really don't want to open up a case on you, but you need to get a job and all this type of things and quit smoking drugs." So I looked for a job. Um, didn't get one. It wasn't important. I thought they was playing with me. Didn't get one. Ended up doing a drug test, and they gave me a little over a week or two to get clean and to refrain from using. But in those 2 weeks, Section 8 kicked me off the program because I had got arrested for the drug charge. So from there, I got kicked off the program and I had to go live with said person. I went to go live with said person during those 2 weeks that their CPS is trying to give me a chance, but they ended up wanting to take another drug test. I failed it and they took my kids. When they took my kids, because I was a full-time mother, my world crumbled. Now I'm all alone in alone and free to do the drugs as long as I wanted to and how much ever I wanted to.
Right.
So by me being a mother at 14, my that was my first child was born at 14 and I was 28 at the time. I'm like, this might not be that bad, a little break for them. And I really thought that way because I was enjoying doing the dope, but it hurt. Losing my kids, it hurt. But the love I had for them was so compelling over the dope. The love I had for the dope was so compelling over my love for my kids. And
Mhm.
I realized that every single day I was out there on the streets, like I'm really an addict. I'm out here doing prostituting myself, something that I just never thought I would do. It that was never in my foresight of my life is to lose my kids and be an addict.
Right.
It happened. It happened so quick. It was a downfall. It was my downfall. So for 2.5 years. I did walk the streets prostituting and I wrote in my journals while I was doing it. But I smoked. I wasn't a recreational smoker. I didn't like being around people. I would be around them, but everybody acted so different off of drugs. And I was the
Mm-hmm.
normal one. I'm the one being rational. I'm the one, I lived in the dope man's house as a tenant. So I got to, he had dropped his dope and I'm the one that picked it up. Hey, you dropped the dope. He wouldn't give me nothing off of it, but it was a moral thing. For one, I was on new grounds. I'm out there in their world. I didn't know nothing about addiction, nothing about trap houses, nothing about dope boys, but I knew enough from TV and
Right.
movies to know that you don't fuck over the drug dealer. So
Yeah.
I kept my trust and honesty out in in the streets. I did, and they trusted me to fall asleep with their sack and know that I wasn't gonna touch it while they was asleep. So that was the type of person I was. I did have morals when I was out there in the streets. I didn't want to mess up. I didn't want to have no bad karma. Put it that way.
Right.
Especially knowing I hadn't seen my kids. I stopped my visitations because my daughter, she was like 15 at the time, and she ended up telling me, "I don't want to see you until you get clean." And my son, he was only 6 when he got taken. So by his 7th year, he still was wanting to see me, but because my daughter told me that she didn't want to see me no more like that, I chose to cut them both off. And it hurt more than anything. It hurt them more than anything.
I know.
But so from there, let's fast forward. I walked the streets. It ended up being for 2.5 years. By the second year, I'm begging God. I'm like, I need something to. I'm trying rehabs. I go in for 1 day. I go in for 3 days. I go in for 4 days. I think that the most I went is a place called the Healing Place down here for women and men, for addicts for recovery. And I spent the longest was like 4 or 5 days. I couldn't do it. I couldn't. I snuck the first time I went. I seen how the rehab, how they handled their program. They really don't search you and things like that. You have to detox for 5 to 7 days, and that sends you on to the next program. So I seen the first time that they really didn't search you. So I left on day two. The second time I tried it, um, I bought my dope in because I'm like, well, maybe I can wean myself off of it because I really did want to get clean. I'm like, enough is enough, but apparently it wasn't. So I snuck my dope in. When it ran out on day three, I'm like, okay, I can do this. Day four, I'm like, okay, this ain't bad. By day five in the morning, it took for one person to say, well, you have to be here. And that was my excuse. That was like, okay, that was my green light to show them that I didn't have to
It's
be
like I
there. I'm not
really
court
ain't gotta
ordered.
be here.
Yeah, I'm not court ordered. I'm not, um, it's not mandated. So I walked out. I let that be my excuse, and I started using the same day again. So come January, no, come March. Um, of 2019. Come March of two, they got taken November of 2016, right before Thanksgiving. I got to spend it with them with my aunt. She picked them up from foster care and had Thanksgiving because my aunt reached out and things like that. They wanted to have a relative do our supervised visits and things of that nature. So they was working with me. So by March of matter of fact, by March of 2019, I had seen people get killed. Um, The 2 years that I had walked the streets, I lost over 21. I think it was 21 people. Either they was an addict and got killed, overdose. Either they was a drug dealer that got killed. Um, different people I ran into. Just it was crazy. I had lost so many people that I ran into on the streets in 2 years, like 20 people. So I'm getting scared out there now. And I'm like, this ain't the life I want, but it's hard to quit. I tried. So March, they sent me a termination of rights paper saying if I didn't get my crap together, that they was going to terminate my rights in May. So that crushed me. And I got the letter. I was downstairs in said person's house in his basement. I'm smoking and I'm listening to my gospel music and I dropped to my knees and I begged God to give me a sign. Um, I begged him to show me what I needed to do to get clean because I couldn't do it on my own. A week after I prayed that prayer, I
Mm,
found out I was pregnant with Cash.
mm. You make me cry. Mm,
Yeah, it's hard. So after all the things I had been through and couldn't overcome, as soon as I peed on that stick on March the 24th and I found out that I was pregnant, it was my sister's birthday. Me and her were close too. So on her birthday, I found out I was pregnant. And I called my other sister that lived in Atlanta. I said, sis, I'm pregnant. I'm happy. I'm about to get my life back. And we was like, well, let's call, my other sister for her birthday and let her know. And my family, they always supported me through this because they knew it wasn't me. They knew that there was a different walk of life for me that wasn't for me, but I was gonna have to find my own way. They tried, but they didn't give up on me.
mm,
And so,
Glad
but I
you had
never
that
bothered
support.
them. Yeah, I did. I did. I called them. I called my sister and I said, sis, I'm pregnant. I said, happy birthday. Like, got a surprise for you. I'm pregnant. And she was like, oh my God, really? Really? What do you want to do? And she said, you know what? Whatever you want to do. If you want to keep it, I support you. If you want to get rid of it, I support you. If you want to put it up for adoption, I support you. And I said, I'm not doing none of that. I'm keeping my baby. This is
Right.
mine. And I said, he's mine. I called him a boy before I knew he was a boy. um,
mm,
my desire to have another boy because my daughter was 8 years old when I had her baby brother. So I always wanted the boy. I wanted the boy first, but I got a daughter. So when my first son
mm,
came, he was my world. Like he couldn't ask me for something and I wouldn't get it for him. He could ask
mm,
for anything. So when I lost him, I was craving him. I was craving. Me and my daughter was 14 when they got taken. So me and her had already established a relationship. It was my son that I was missing the most. So when I got pregnant and found out, I was like, it's a boy. I know God's gonna replace my boy. So and come to find out he was a boy. But March the 24th, on my sister's birthday, I found out and I told my sisters, I was like, I knew something was up because I couldn't smoke no more. Cash wouldn't let me smoke. When I got pregnant with him, I could not hit that pipe. I was missing $100, $200 serves from the Johns, all that. A long time ago. I would jump up. Hey, I'm getting ready. I'm on my way. And when I got pregnant with him and I didn't know I was pregnant, I was ignoring calls. I was sleeping more, eating more, gaining a little weight. I was like, I gotta take a test. I might be pregnant.
mm,
So and his story's ironic because I was dealing with a drug dealer at the time. And we didn't have a relationship. He was going through a divorce, but he was really nice to me. I never wanted, he made sure I didn't have to walk the streets no more. Once I met my son's daddy, he looked out for me in my addiction. He did. He gave me what I needed to keep me off the streets. And I appreciated that. I didn't have to sell my body no more. I didn't have to go out there and sleep with different men, even though I did protect myself. Said person that started me on my addiction, he had buckets full of condoms. So I'm the one in the streets that was giving them out to the other girls on the streets, selling their body and things of that nature. Like, I really knew I didn't want to catch nothing. I honored my body, but it was just the way I was using my temple to get my fix. And so but I dealt with his dad And unfortunately, that's just who his dad was. His dad was a drug dealer. He dealt cocaine. So, but like I said, March 24th, I found out. By March 27th, really March the 25th, I called the rehab, or I called Medicaid. I was on it real quick. Like March 24th of that year, 2019 was a Sunday. I'll never forget it. I'll never
Mhm.
forget it. It was a Sunday. So Monday I called Passport. I got on Passport because I was homeless, addict, and pregnant. They approved me. They gave me two places to call to do in-house treatment and or inpatient, should I say, treatment for being an addict and pregnant. I got accepted into one of the houses on Tuesday. Tuesday, I was supposed to go in on the 26th. I was supposed to go in, but unfortunately, it didn't go the way I wanted to. I didn't get the fix that I wanted. I didn't get high enough. But I told myself that tomorrow, even if I don't get high enough, I'm going in to that. I'm going in, regardless if it doesn't work out the way, because I wanted to stop. I wanted to not, I didn't want to affect the baby that I was carrying. And I didn't want him to come out with no disabilities, no mental problems, missing a toe, missing fingers. Like, I really want him
Mhm.
to be a healthy baby. And I smiled. I smiled the whole pregnancy. I smiled the first time I knew I was pregnant. I just knew he was my miracle baby because he gave me a reason to stop smoking when I couldn't find one. Even with the
Mhm.
love of my other kids, I just couldn't find one. So
Mhm.
for I had him October the 9th of 2019. um, I was in drug court trying to get custody of my other kids. They really wasn't worried about my oldest daughter because she was aging out. It was more so my son. He was 9 at the time when Cash was born. So once I came back in the picture, they put my kids with my aunt. My aunt ended up being verbally abusive to my son and physically abusive to him and over medicating him and things of that nature. Um, me being, and I was in Indiana when this was happening. So while I was in Indiana taking these drug tests and I was pregnant before Cash was born, they kept telling me my tests were coming back positive for cocaine. And I'm like, how? I'm not using. And so they was like, well, just be prepared when you have your baby. If he comes back positive, we're either going to take him or we're going to put you in a rehab with him. But we need you to get clean and things of that nature, or we will take him. And I'm like, but y'all not going to find nothing. I'm not using. And
Right.
so, and anything after you use after 4 months while you're pregnant, it'll come up in your drug screen, the baby's drug screen, no matter what you
Mhm.
do. If anything after 4 months pregnant, it comes up in the baby system. So I'm telling them, do a test on him. Do whatever y'all got to do. Do a test on him. He's not going to come up positive. Sure enough, he was born. They tested his meconium. They tested his first meconium. They tested his placenta. And it was something else. It was something else they tested. I think blood work or something. But he was
Mhm.
negative. He was negative, and they had no choice. They was like, "Well, we don't know how that worked. You came up positive over 18 times." I said, "Yeah, because y'all system is messed up. There's something on
Mhm.
y'all's end that y'all are doing wrong." And they just wouldn't admit that. I'm in, sorry to say it, but a racist county in Jeffersonville, Indiana, and I
Mhm.
was the only black woman in the program, the only one whose drug of choice was cocaine. And I just cold turkey stopped. And it was like they couldn't believe that. There was like, all these other people, they're using heroin and things like that. And you're telling us that you just cold turkey stopped. Like they came at me and actually said that to me. Like they was like, it's not common that a person that uses cocaine can quit the way you did. And I was like, well, I love my baby that much, like I really do. I love my baby that much. And so, um, 2 years of fighting them, going to drug court 2 times a week, doing drug screens every other day, sometimes three in a day. And I'm taking three of these drug screens in a day, and only one of them's coming up positive. And every time I would get to court, they would tell me that because one came up positive, even though two of them didn't, that they're counting me as a positive. So that made my case stagnant. I wasn't going nowhere, even though I was completing ILP classes, I completed parenting classes, I completed drug course classes. I did everything above and beyond. It got to the point where they wanted me to take NA classes, and they wanted three from me. I gave them six, like, y'all want three classes from me? Okay, I'll give you something better. I give you six. I'm not using. And as much as I tried to fight this and as much as I tried to plead my innocence, they ultimately told me, if you don't sign your rights over to your son, we're gonna involuntarily take away your rights, and we're because we did it on one child, we could do it easily on cash. And that right there sent me into a panic. I'm like, I can't have them taking cash. Like, Cash don't know me. He was only 1.5 at the time. I'm like, he does not know me. My 9-year old, my 10-year old, he knows me. At least he'll be with my auntie. But once I signed my rights over, she stopped my visits with him. So I ended up telling her, telling them about CPS, about the abuse that was going on their house. And that's when they took my oldest son and put him back in the system into an adoptive home. So he was eventually adopted out by strangers. But when they gave me that ultimatum to either quit fighting for my oldest son and not risk losing cash. That's why I did that. I was like, okay, he's gonna be with family. He's gonna know my oldest son. He'll know me. He knows who I am, but I can't lose my baby. Not the one that saved my life. Like, he
Right.
literally gave me a new lease on life, and I just couldn't give up him that easy. So I gave him to his father until the case was closed. Well, they never even opened the case. They ended up basically saying that because I showed them that his dad had him so many times, compared to me. We went to court and his dad said, yeah, I told his dad to go against me. Basically, while we was in fighting for cash not to have a case open, the lady that had done my supervised visits before they got cut, she was a black lady, and she had told me, the courts want to see your baby's dad go against you. You need to tell your baby's daddy to tell them everything they want to hear. Tell them that you're still using, that you think they or that he thinks that I'm still using, that he thinks I'm irresponsible, all the bad, just anything negative, bad about me, and to tell them that he had custody of cash, so that they won't open a case, because I'm in Indiana, he's in Kentucky. When it's two different states, they don't like fighting that way, so they'll rather
Yeah.
just let the other parent have them and
Yeah.
not open up a case. So that's what we
Mhm.
did. We went on the courts, and we basically, I told him, I said, hey, you just got to go against me in here. If they say, do you think I'm still using? Say yes. Say that you supervise our visits, me and Cash's visits. Like, you have to sound like you're going against me if you don't want this case to be open. And so he did. And the judge, the judge was like, okay, well, since there's nothing, we don't see any reason to open up a case since the baby's not in her care, then, we can dismiss this. And that's how his case got closed. So fast forward while this is happening, because I met my husband 2021 when I started a job. And I've been on that job for 5 years. I had never had a job that
I'm
long.
proud of you.
And yeah, I have never had a job this long. I work in a warehouse, but that's my warehouse. Like, I love my peoples there. We started out with 15. There's only 5 of us there now. But I met him on the day after my birthday, April. My birthday's April 5th. I met him April 6th. We've been together ever since. Like, no breaks, no nothing. And
Mhm.
so from there, my life just, even before meeting my husband, everything in my life, when he came around, just it was perfect. I went for housing while I was pregnant with him. They accepted me, and then a week later denied me because of the charge that I got from Section 8 when I got found with the cocaine and stuff. And because it was
Mhm.
only 2.5 years ago, I appealed it, and they usually said that you can't get back on Section 8 till after 3 years of something like that happening. But I was in drug court, I was in a shelter, a woman and children's shelter, and I was doing everything I was supposed to do. So when I appealed it, the guy that I appealed it to, he was like, say no more, you sound like you're on the right track, just don't go back to doing drugs, we're gonna approve you. So I'm like, yay, like, because I didn't know where I was gonna go with my baby. I didn't want to be in a shelter with him. So
Right.
I got approved for housing 2 months before he was born. I set up his room. I set up my daddy, got all my furniture. My dad kept me in a car. He's a mechanic. He kept me in a car so I can keep my appointments and my drug court cases, or the days and things like that I need to go to court. So he really wanted to see me jump back. And I did everything I was supposed to, and Cash just made it 10 times better. You know, anytime I was denied, I ended up getting approved. He just brought so much joy and good to my life. So when I got the job, I met my husband. Me and him began to live together after like 3 months of dating, 3 or 4 months of dating, and he was around for my son. He got a year and a half with my son. He was around for his first birthday, his third birthday, or his second birthday and his third birthday. We got to spend 2 birthdays with him, 2 Christmases with him. And come April of no, come August of 2022, I ended up moving from my apartment into a house. I got a Section 8 approved me to get a house. So I moved states. I moved from Indiana to Kentucky, and I got the house. And I've never lived in the house on my own. So that was a good, like that was a blessing that I contributed to Cash. I wouldn't even been motivated to even do something like that. I would have been content with an apartment, but I wanted him to have his own backyard. I wanted him to have his own room and have a nice living room. And I wanted more when he was here. So I wanted him to give him what I couldn't give my other son, because I had lost custody and I hadn't heard from my son in 2 years. So when I got the house, I heard everything went good. His dad, we were sharing custody back and forth during the weekends until I moved to the house. But when I got the house, I applied for daycare and for Cash, and that's when I had him a week, and his dad had him a week. I had him a week, his dad had him a week. Fridays was our what do you call it? Was our where we switch
Yeah.
off. That's
Yeah.
yeah. So
Mother.
Fridays was our switch off. I didn't
Mhm.
know what his dad was doing in his house, or around Cash. From what I knew, his dad had custody of his 2 grandchildren. So that in my head was like, okay, he might be a drug dealer, but he's not a bad person. Like if his grandkids are fine and they haven't nothing's ever happened to them, and while they've been in his care, then I could trust my baby with him. Like I wouldn't expect him to have nobody around that wasn't supposed to be while he had the kids around.
Right.
So for 2 years he did. He didn't have that I know of. He didn't have that type of people in his atmosphere, in his environment. So come April of 2023, um, the week before Cash died, I actually was gonna tell his dad that he would have to get the weekends, because let me rewind. After I got the house, I got the car, I got the job. March of 2023, March 25th of 2023, my husband proposed to me. So I'm like, oh my gosh, all this stuff is going great in my life. I'm
Mm-hmm.
having like I got it all. I got the fiance, I got the car, I got the job, I got the house. Like I said,
You got
Lord, what do you
everything that
want me
you
to
can
do?
imagine and more.
Exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. I had everything that I never thought I would have in addiction. Like Cash brought that to me, and so I asked God. I said, "What do you want me to do now? What's my mission on earth?" And not even 20 days later, my baby died.
Mhm.
So I went from planning my funeral, or my wedding, to planning the funeral. It happened so quick. I got engaged March the 25th. My birthday was April the 5th. My daughter, who had just turned 21, we drank our first drink together, April the 16th. And 3 days later, I got a call saying my baby was gone. But a week before Cash had passed, I was going to tell his daddy or I told his daddy, like, after this week visit with him, you'll get the weekends. I want my baby full time. And it was like God interrupted that plan. Cash would probably still be alive if I would have went to full time parent and him having the weekends, but that wasn't in God's plan. And I guess He knew that the love I have for my baby, it would ignite a fire in me to talk and to speak out against stuff like this, because I didn't know about fentanyl until he died.
Right.
Didn't know what fentanyl was. I didn't know that a lace pill really meant fentanyl. Like nobody was saying that. Every time they'll say somebody died, they'll say it's lace. It's lace. Well, what is it laced with?
Mhm.
They wasn't saying that. I didn't know. I didn't know. And April the 19th, last time I seen Cash alive though was April the 14th. And that was on a Friday. And it's crazy. I seen him and I seen him and I was like, I dropped him off at daycare and something told me I usually hug him and just let him go, but and he was real tired that morning, so he wasn't fussy. He was just droopy. So I put him down. I said, "Come here, give me another hug." And he kept walking. I said, "Cash, come here, give me a hug." And he kept walking. I said, "Baby," I said, "Come give mommy a hug. Something can happen to mommy. You never know. You might not see me again."
Wow.
I'm sorry. What just happened?
And he came back. He came back and he hugged me. And I felt like it was different. It really felt like it would be my last time seeing him. And I didn't know why. I used to have visions of him passing away on me. And I thought it was because his legs, he was so fast. Like he wasn't one of them babies you can put down and he'll be right by your side. You had to hold his hand. You had to hold his hand because he was so fast. He loved to run. And the street we live on is right across from a school. But even though it's a school zone, a lot of people drive fast. And I always feared that he was going to run through those cars and get hit by a car. I didn't know he'd die from fentanyl. But if anything, I'm grateful that he went silently and that it was just he went to sleep and never woke back up compared to being hit by a vehicle and his body being dismembered and things of that nature. So I'm grateful, but God did give me that intuition and that discernment that I didn't have him for long. So I treated him different. I never screamed at him. I screamed at him twice, and he cried. He looked at me. He put his hands on his chest, and he ran off. And I went to go check on him, and he had a tear coming down his eyes, and I started crying because I'm like, oh my God, I hurt my baby's feelings, like because I didn't scream at him. I treated him like a baby. I treated him like he was precious, like he was a jewel, like he was a gift from God that I just couldn't take for granted. And he just made me enjoy being a mother again. He made me enjoy life again. He gave me a reason, a purpose. And when I found out that there was 4 people in that house, that when he passed away, there was the lady upstairs with her 2 kids. His dad had took in due to her being homeless, and then there was the dad's son, the son's girlfriend, and his father in that house. And what they say that happened, but I'm speculating, is what happened. Is that he was last seen upstairs in her house or in her room with the kids. That's where he ate his dinner. His dad lay down to go to sleep and entrusted her to take care of him. And I guess everybody's asking why did he trust a junkie? Why did he trust a drug dealer? Well, I can show y'all
Yeah, I was
pictures
watching
where I
that
was.
on the Steve Wilkos show.
Yeah, and they were questioning why did he let a junkie, watch his child. And I can show you pictures where I was using and I didn't look like a junkie. So this woman didn't carry herself, and plus she had kids with her. So his mind frame didn't think junkie. And so because you never know what somebody does, you never know what they do behind closed doors. So I get a lot of backlash for like, hey, he's a dealer. You didn't know, why wouldn't you think he would have junkies around and things of that nature? And I'm just like, I never seen them when I would come in, when I would be in his presence, even before Cash was born. My baby daddy was one of them people. You get your stuff and you go. There's nothing to really talk about. So I didn't believe him to have people like that around in my baby's surroundings. And so you know, the lady, she said that she did admit to taking off his shoes and putting him in. She didn't say she put him in bed. She just said I took off his shoes while he was in bed with his father, and he was alive then. But the timing of death confirms that that's a lie. He was way long gone before they found him. And so they think what happened was while he was upstairs, he came into contact with something that she was using, and she panicked when he died on her watch, brought him downstairs while he was dead, and placed him in bed with his daddy until his daddy found him like that. And so, because it's just nobody heard him downstairs. Nobody heard him. His dad didn't feel him get into bed. Usually he lays under his daddy or lays on his back. His daddy's a big guy. So that was what how Cash laid on him. And he wakes up and finds Cash lifeless on the side of him, like nowhere near his daddy, like he would normally be. So she gave a false name that night. I didn't know it was fentanyl when he passed away. We did a celebration of life because I wanted to celebrate him, but I didn't understand why every time. Well, when it happened, I took a video of him laying there. After the doctors had did his X-rays and stuff like that, they allowed me and my family to come see him. And something told me, take out your video. You don't want to not remember these moments. So I took out my video. I recorded him deceased in the hospital at his funeral or at his wake. Even going to go do his hair. Something was like record.
Yeah, I
You
saw
need to
that.
record this. And I did. I didn't want to forget. I thought it was just because I didn't want to forget. So I recorded all the moments. A lot of the pictures that y'all see in the videos at the funeral, I didn't do that. I didn't take those. I didn't tell nobody to, but they did, and I'm grateful they did. My daddy, he did video the whole funeral. It was broadcasted too, but the audio on the funeral website, but the audio didn't work, which I'm disappointed in because everybody got up. We didn't have a preacher. I didn't want a preacher. I buried him in something playful because he was a toddler. I didn't think a suit was necessary for burying my baby when he liked bright colors. I love dressing him in nice things, so I didn't want to bury him in a suit. And I'm grateful I did because I think that people can relate when they see that picture of me and him in his casket, because I didn't leave his side. I stayed there the whole time. I did
Yeah,
not
I saw
leave.
that.
We had an open casket funeral. I was not about to let them close that casket on my baby. And so I stayed with him. But I think people can and picture their child after, I went public, and I haven't changed my profile picture in 2 years. You know, I didn't find out I didn't find out it was fentanyl until 2 months after. I really just thought he passed on in his sleep, and like his mission was complete. He got me where I needed to be, and then he had to leave. And that wasn't true. That's far from true. Um, my baby was sent to save me, and after he got me where I needed to be and strong enough and to where I could comprehend what his mission was, I think it's when God took him back home and put me on this journey to complete for Cash. I don't know how many kids he's done save, but I get a lot of messages in my inbox letting me know that my stories made mothers stop letting their dad see, or the kids see their dad, or their do visitations and things of that nature. Or I don't feel bad now for not allowing my son to see his dad because his dad does deal or his dad does use. Like, I get a lot of those
Your story is
messages.
changing many people around the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So
I'm
there's a lot
proud of
of
you.
women that needs to hear this too as well because they going through the same thing. You
They
know,
don't know how to deal
they
with it.
yeah, and they trying to figure out how to deal and cope with a lot of unnecessary things that they don't have to do, or people forcing things on you to
yeah,
make you do things and to make you act out as the not the normal person that you're supposed to be.
right.
Going on your journey, you definitely can get people that will force you, especially drug dealers. You just got to
Yeah,
think, they got to make their money somehow, some way.
right,
You
right.
know, just by being an innocent person, never done anything, and especially if it's a family member having you do that, or a sibling or a husband or whoever that makes you do that, you know, they know your worth,
Yeah,
so they didn't want you to show that either, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
And being an innocent person, they just took your life away from you, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. The
No,
guy that the person that started me, he told me when I first started I introduced this to another girl and she went downhill. She lost her husband. She lost custody of her son. She went to jail. You ain't gonna be like that. You ain't gonna do none of that. And I ended up doing everything he said that I wouldn't do. And
no.
he was okay with that.
Have you backslided since this incident?
No, no, I got 6 years clean. I got
Right,
6 years clean for
right.
every year I stay clean. I honor Cash's life. I will never. That's why I advocate. That's why I speak out. I wouldn't be able to do the things going on the Steve Wilkos show, going in front of legislators, going on the news, doing diaper bag giveaways, going in front of legislators. Like I wouldn't have been able to do that not clean. So
Do you have
and
any tips for
I definitely got my weight on me too. When I touched that stuff, I went down to 110 pounds.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I lost all of. I was like high school, no, middle school weight when I was on that crap, and
Mm.
I maintained a healthy body for six
do
Well,
years.
you have any tips for
So
maintaining your
yeah,
sobriety?
and you look good.
thank you. Thank you. You could definitely tell if I was to touch it. But I knew even when I found out it was fentanyl, even when he died, I said I can't go back. Honestly, I didn't want to go back. It never crossed my mind. Even this whole time he's been gone for 2 years. But even when it happened, the first thing was never to go. My first thing was like to pray you know
Yeah,
Right.
um it just the life that I had, what I had to endure for those 2.5 years. I understand addiction now. I understand people's points of views of why they started or what happened to them. Like it gave me a whole new concept of addicts and addiction, and
whole new outlook
I'm
on life.
grateful. I'm grateful I went through that experience because I would be one of them people that's saying, "Oh, they got a choice. They're choosing to be addicts." Not really. It's a disease. It's a mental disease, and once you're addicted, and it's up to you when you finally say enough is enough. But it's hard. But it only, and like I said, I tried rehab, and that was hard by myself. But when I got pregnant and I had something to live for, I love being a parent. So when I found out I was pregnant, that was my rock bottom. That was my, oh my gosh, I gotta quit this for the sake of my baby. He gave me a new lease on life, and I never looked back. I hit one right before I walked into rehab, and I told myself that was my last hit, and it was. It was March 27th of 2019 is my clean date, and I hold on. I wouldn't have got that if it wasn't for Cash.
I'm
I
so
wouldn't.
proud
I
of you.
probably would be dead.
Yeah,
Especially with them putting fentanyl and cocaine and things like that now.
yeah,
So
because they definitely is overdosing, and I work at
yeah,
a hospital, so I see it all the time.
I
Like,
bet you do.
yeah, and it's just so sad
It
at the same
is.
time. They have kids, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
And there's kids, there's 15-year-old, 14-year-olds. I've met a lot of people on my journey since I found out that it was fentanyl. I reached out to one mother, and this one mother connected me because I grew up in the group homes with her daughter. So her daughter passed away from fentanyl 2 years before Cash. So when I told Facebook, oh my gosh, this ain't what I thought it would be, because people were saying the city, how the city knows before you know.
Yeah,
hmm
And that's what happened in my case. Everybody was saying, oh, he died from a lace pill. He died from a lace pill. And I said, no, he didn't. I'm naive. No, he did not. My baby. Y'all need to quit saying that about my baby. Y'all don't, I think he just, I feel like he died in his sleep. We don't know yet, though. But quit saying my baby died of a lace pill. And I'll tell you, I'll be the first one to tell you, when I found out on that autopsy that he died from fentanyl, I said, oh my gosh, he died from a lace pill. I was wrong. And they were right. They knew about what happened. The streets knew more about what happened in my baby's daddy's trap house more than I did. But
yeah,
and
but
my thing
she
was,
had to let that get out for somebody to know.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely, because it was only her upstairs with him. So,
Yeah.
but she swears up and down she went on the run, because the detectives wanted to speak to her again. They couldn't. That's really, the investigation was botched. The ex-wife came in and started calling it a drug house and things of that nature. So instead of investigating for a homicide, they end up investigating for drugs. They didn't wipe down surfaces. They didn't go upstairs to check to see what area he was last seen in. Didn't wipe down nothing. They took things off the wall. They was breaking things and testing scales. None of it came back with fentanyl though. So that's why I wholehearted. And plus, I was, I was customer of my baby's father, so I didn't know him at all to sell fentanyl. Like that wasn't what he had done, and nobody has ever confirmed that he sells fentanyl. So when we went on the Steve Wilkos show, that sort of backfired because they asked him all the wrong questions. They didn't. They were asking him, did he have fentanyl and things of that nature? And this is a guy with heart medicine. He's 55 years old. He's on all sorts of pills for his health, and y'all want him to take a lie detector test. And so that show was really more for views. They told us our backstage that his test was 50-50, that he could have been telling the truth and still failed it, which I know that to be a fact. I can attest to that. When I was 17 in the group home, long story short, allegations against my father of sexual abuse from my brother, saying that he had done that to us. We was both in the system. He took a test, he failed it, or he passed it. I took the test, telling the truth, and I failed it. So I know that lie detector tests aren't accurate at all. That's why they're inadmissible in court. So, but I did reach out to the detectives and let them know, hey, just investigate again, investigate my baby's father and everybody in that house. He wasn't the only one. So,
Right.
but they said it's not that much evidence that they can use to prosecute somebody, and I'm just like, negligence. The proof is that my child is dead, and he was in the care of four people. He was in the care, but now it's
Yeah.
only three people. So last year, the lady, her oldest child, which was like 22 or 23, he overdosed on fentanyl and died too. So,
Mm.
and I feel like was that a was
Horrible
that a
thing.
yeah, and I hate to say that because a child lost his life. But
Yeah.
sometimes the things that we do can trickle down to our children. So
Yeah.
I just wonder that sometimes, like, would have God have taken her child if she didn't have nothing to do with my child dying from the same thing?
Definitely.
But I just
Definitely.
hate, and I hate to think that my heart still went out to her. I still have forgiven her. That was one of the first things I did. I didn't feel mad. I didn't feel mad, and I hated that as a parent because I'm like, where's my anger? Where's my frustration? Where's my bitterness? Where's my I want her head? And something told me let it go and let God. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I did. I never even to this day I don't feel animosity toward this lady. I wish he would have made better choices, but the wishing, the woulda, coulda, wouldas, that's not gonna bring my baby back. I have to live with this for the rest of my life as well as she does. So I don't know where this journey has taken her, but I hope for her own sake she does get clean and I pray that one day she'll come and tell me what happened when she's in in a better state of mind and to hold herself accountable. I do wish for that for her. I don't want her to die because she did die and they revived her 2 weeks after Cash passed away. So then that's why I advocate for Narcan too. If they had Narcan in that house the night that he had passed away, I think he would have still been here. But nobody
Mhm.
knew. Nobody's talking about it. And I do feel like it's my God given journey now, and it's my mission. And I'm gonna mourn him till the day I die, and I can't stop thinking about him. But I just want to give other parents the warning that I didn't have.
Right.
And not only did her child die, but the girl of the boyfriend of the brother who was in the house that night. Come to find out, she was actually 16 when this happened. I thought she was 20, so he was like 19. She was 16. She died this year at 18 years old from a fentanyl overdose as well.
Mm.
Wow.
So now there's only three people in that house that potentially know the truth and know what
And all
happens.
the pieces of the puzzle is slowly coming together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And another part of the puzzle is the dad, my baby's father's dad. I'm going to say it. I haven't spoken this but one time on Facebook because I don't know who knows who. But it was alleged. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to keep it, legal. It was alleged that the son had a cash app after Cash died that said baby killer, and he had requested money from his dad, and his dad seen that, and so he showed his fiance that he has. My son's daddy, he seen this request from his own son because Cash that was Cash's stepbrother or half
Right.
brother. So yeah, so he
That's
seen that baby
crazy.
killer. And I put that on Facebook and I'm like, oh my God, now there's more to the story. Like, what's really going on? Why would you have baby killer as your cash app and things of that nature? And his family really didn't appreciate that. The mama, she she didn't come at me crazy. She was just like, I never seen that. That's not true. I never seen that. And me and my husband, we like, well, let's see how Cash App works. Cause she was like, I seen him money all the time. He changed his name several times on there, but I ain't never seen that. It would come up on history. So me and my cousin did experiment. I mean, my husband did experiment. I was like, well, let me change my name in Cash App. Cause you can only change it 3 times, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So I said, let me change. I'm gonna send you a dollar and go on my history and see what my name is. It changed to the name that I had changed it to. That's all my transactions. It didn't never say a different name. Once you change it, it changes your history. So
Right.
she couldn't have seen it if it did, if he changed it,
Right.
or if she did see it and she goes back in her history, it's not going to be there. Only people that
Right.
would know what, and he had for like 3 different Cash App accounts too. So that's another thing. Then I find out that he was a pill popper and his girlfriend died from fentanyl in an Airbnb by herself. But come to find out, when I talked to the mom, the ex-wife, she said that her son kept saying that she had died without nobody knowing she had died. And so she
Wow.
was like,
That's
son, don't keep
crazy.
saying that. Why you keep saying she's gone, she's gone. She might not be gone. She might not be gone. And come to find out, she was really gone. So that sort of been going in my head. Like, did he get a hold of his stuff?
Right.
Because I
Mhm.
found out he was a pill popper. People are telling me that this year. And I'm like, where was this information at last year and the year before? Like, why am I finding slowly every year? I'm finding out more and more things. Like, I didn't know that house was a trap house. I thought it was getting renovated. And from my understanding with his dad, my baby wasn't supposed to be in that. It was our drop off spot, but he was. Every time I went to go pick him up or called and checked on him, he was never at that house. He was all the way out somewhere else. So it's a lot of things to Cash's story that I haven't revealed because it'll come with a lot of backlash from people. Like I said, I don't know his family. He's related to a lot of people. And I just don't know. I don't want that type of heat on me without no facts, but I do know.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they think I don't know, but I do know. I had a
Right.
conversation with the ex-wife like last week, and the son was there, and she was talking about what happened that night. And the wife even said, girl, you find out something new every time he talks about this. Every time my son tells me about this, I'm finding out something new. Why are you finding out something new every time he's talking about it? But when I talk about it, it's the same story every
Right.
time. There's nothing's changing in my story. And I guess they're so naive because, that's her kid and she doesn't want to see it that way. But if I was to find myself saying that my son's story is changing every time we talk about this, that would make me start having thoughts. Like
I
it'll make me
wouldn't
Mhm.
start
start
wondering, like, why
and
is your
send it to
story
whoever to
changing?
go to.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Like, why is
Unless,
your story changing? Yeah,
unless you ain't got nothing to do with it, you know.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Now
yeah,
we
it's
need to turn
really
this case
heavy.
around on him.
Yeah, it's really heavy. It's really heavy. But I've chosen not to go public. I mean, even if it does get out, I'm I have nothing else to say. I'm not gonna dwell on it. I know my baby got a mission. I have been reaching out to a councilman. He's been trying to get me to get a law passed in Cash's honor, to prevent this from happening to other kids and or to potentially just help this, save a life. So that's my mission for my baby. And I don't
Amazing.
have times to really dwell on what happened in that house because I don't think I'll ever know the truth unless
Mm.
somebody just cold-heartedly just come out and say, "Yeah, I killed." I had a hand in what happened to your baby. I'm not going to hear that. So that's where I'm at with that.
Do you have any
Well, it's
tips for
amazing.
maintaining your sobriety?
Do I have huh?
Do you have any tips that you can give to the people that's watching for maintaining how you maintain your sobriety?
Oh man. So I my main thing is I always reflect back on what I felt in addiction. It was never good. All the men I had to sleep with to get with my drug of choice, all the negative comments from other people that see me as a junkie. I didn't want that status over my head no more.
Mhm.
I just I remember. I remember where it took me, and I vowed not to ever go there again. Like, even if I was to tell myself, "Oh, one time ain't gonna hurt," it scares me because I thought that one time wouldn't hurt before, and it did. So
Mhm.
I just remember my past and all the ugly things about what I went through and all the grateful things that I'm going through now and have in my life and all
Mhm.
the good things I have going for myself. Like that's my motivation to stay clean. Because a high is not worth losing my house. A high is not worth losing my car. A high is not worth me losing my relationship with my husband. Like I got too many blessings, and I feel like another thing too is once God delivered me this one time, because really this is my first time being clean, and I've stayed clean, like I said, for 6 years. But I feel like it'd be a smack in God's face. Like I gave you a new lease on life. It's up to you to maintain it.
Right.
I feel like it'd be a smack in His face and His mercy on me if I pick up again. And it's gonna be twice, if not 10 times harder to
Hard.
come back out of than the first time. And who's to
Mhm.
say if I was to get pregnant again and have another baby save me from addiction? I don't want to go through that again. It's just I'm
I
grateful
agree.
for the life that I'm living now compared to what addiction took me through.
Right.
What would
And
you
you
say
look
has
so
been the most
beautiful.
important thing in your
Thank
recovery?
you. Huh?
What would you say has been the most important thing in your recovery?
Most important thing? Um, having a clear the most important thing is not having the control that the drug had over me. That can the drug really controlled me. Like it controlled my parenthood. It controlled if I wanted to eat, if it controlled if I wanted to sleep. Like I don't have to answer to the drug no more. A drug that, and then another thing, the money that you spend on drugs and the unthinkable things that you do for drugs. Um, that money could be yours. Instead of
Mhm.
you're feeding somebody else's Christmas, you're feeding somebody else's pockets and their car notes or their gas. Like that's how I look at it too. Like I refuse to put my money, my hard earned money, whether I slept with a man or not for it, than somebody else's hand for a 2 or 3 hour high. While they go out and buy new shoes and go on cruises with their family and stuff off of the money that I had. That keeps me, that's the most important thing to me is like just knowing that I have control. I'm not lost no more. That
I like
control,
that.
yeah, that it's one of them things like you don't even realize that you're addicted until you realize you're addicted. Like you just think,
Mhm.
oh, this ain't, it's simple, it's not harming nobody, and then you just slowly start losing and losing and losing, and you can't get nowhere. And you just look at yourself and then the physical torture that it does on your body and the thing because I lost teeth and everything, and that's why I said it, my cash gave me a new lease on life. During COVID I got dental work done and stuff, so I mean, like, that baby saved my life. He really did. He gave me a new lease on life. He changed my world. And I just feel like I owe him the air I breathe to speak his name and make sure the world doesn't forget him and know he was here and let the world know what happened to him. I do get judged a lot for having him as his dad in his life, but then it's like a catch 22. Um, Every time something goes wrong with a black child, they scream, "Where was the father? Where was the father?" Well, I allowed his father to be there. Now it's, why'd you let the father be there? Why'd you let the father be there? So, I can't
You
win. I'm
can't
not gonna be able
listen
to
to
say,
these naysayers. Don't let
yeah, I
them get in
don't.
your head.
Yeah, I don't. I don't. It does bother me when I read it, but it doesn't bother me enough because I'm like, I got a husband, I got a
Because you know
home,
who
I
you're
got a
doing it
car,
for.
I got a job. Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy with my life. So happy hoes ain't hating and hating hoes ain't happy.
Hey, closet.
Yeah.
Keep on
How do you
going.
put what you learn in therapy into your everyday life?
What's that?
How do you put what you learned in therapy into your everyday life?
Um, I didn't really go to therapy. I mean, when I was going to therapy, I went for my son, my oldest son. I haven't tried therapy since Cash been gone. What I have tried is a grief group, and I do go. We do go to that every other Monday. It helps to be around other grieving parents. So um, that part has been okay. That the grief group, but therapy, I don't go. I don't go. I had a lot of that growing up. From 13 to 18, I was in a group home with my daughter. So
Well, you know you
I
got
had
the
a lot of
support
that.
here.
Yeah. Yeah,
We
definitely.
we, we
And
locked.
but okay, I can tell you this. I do have therapy, and that is Facebook. When I get on Facebook and I vent and I express myself, the amount of love shown to me and support on this journey has truly been a blessing from God. He knew I needed y'all. He knew I needed like-minded people that understood, and even the ones that don't understood, they have empathy. And
Mm-hmm.
so that has helped. That is my therapy, is talking about what happened and talking about how I feel on Facebook. And it's been definitely a beacon of hope for me, with people around the world that just can relate, and they always uplift me. They always give me great advice. I know if I need to vent, I can come straight to my page, and within minutes, I got people, just saying the most beautiful thing. I cry when I read comments. That hasn't stopped. Like for 2 years straight, I'm an emotional wreck when I read some of the comments because people say that I inspire them and that I'm brave and I'm courageous and I'm resilient, and they give me all these
You
strong
are.
words, and I'm just like, you know, feel like it's something I had to do. Like it feels like a calling. It really does. I don't know if you ever felt a calling on your life, but that's what it feels like for me. When Cash died, he gave me. I asked God for my purpose before he passed, and then he passed away, and I'm just like, I guess I found my purpose. So
Definitely.
I'm trying to let God order my steps and being in accordance with His will.
And he will do that.
That's yeah,
As long as you give it over to him.
yes, absolutely, absolutely.
I can't say enough how I'm proud of you.
Thank
I
you.
got so many tears. Like I'm just like I'm. Oh yeah. It's
Yeah.
just been a scary day for me too as well. But
Yeah.
definitely, how do you be coping with your loss like every day? Like do you like starting your day off? Do you
Oh
like
man.
yeah.
um, every day, every second, every hour, I can't look at something. I can't enjoy anything without thinking about my baby. It has gotten easier. The first year when he passed away, I had blackout spells. Um, I had blackout spells. I ended up having fainting spells. Um, I would get lightheaded. I had a lot of stuff going on in my head the first year. It was really heavy. I think after I went on the Steve Wilkos show is when the burden sort of loosened up on me to where now I'm like, okay, everybody knows the full truth. There's nothing more to hinder and to not necessarily hide. I just felt like I couldn't lead with certain information and not get the support that I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So, but every day when I wake up, I do think about them. It's every second. I go to sleep thinking about him. I wake up thinking about him. I can't have intimacy with my husband sometimes without thinking about him. So it's definitely something that weighs heavy on you. Losing a child's not for the weak. I
Mhm.
thought it was going to take me out. I thought I would lose my mind. I always said, I ain't going to be able to live or function without my kids. And here I am living and functioning without my kid. I definitely give God all credit and all glory when it comes to my sanity, when it comes to me maintaining my sobriety, when it comes to anything really. I got to give God that. You have to have something to believe in. A lot of people have their different things they believe in, but mine is God, and my higher power is God, and he's definitely kept me on this journey. He's kept me. He stood by me. He's walking through it with me. He hasn't left my side. I've continuously been blessed. So because I try to put out good. I try to be a good human. I try to be compassionate. I try to be empathetic. I can't think I'm better than the next. And he's working on me, but I just want to make him proud of me, and I want to hear "well done" when I get there. So
You will.
that's how I get through. I just
Well done. You just came through a lot of toxic and trauma in your life, definitely. So you have
yeah
overcame a lot of it. So
yeah
what you overcame, you should be proud of yourself because
I
it's just like you
am
said, like it's a lot of women and men out there that just can't get off of drugs and they're gone right now.
right.
You made it. You made it out, even though losing a child is even more harsh to what your situation is about too as
Yeah
well. But you still have overcame every obstacle thing that God had put you through to make sure that you don't go back to it.
yeah yeah. I feel like I knew Cash's story was written the day he died. And I knew that he had a purpose. I knew he was perfect, and I knew that it was his time to go. Even though it's hard to accept that, but
Mhm.
what always stands out to me is his birthday and his death day. That's how I know he was perfect. His birthday was 10/9/19. 10 plus 9 equals 19. His death day is 4/19/23. 4 plus 19 is 23. What other perfect? What other sign do I need that he was meant? It was meant to happen this way, and that he was perfect.
You need
So
to play
I
those
chose.
numbers. You need to play
I
that for the rest of your life.
I was finna
I
say the
chose the
same
day
thing.
he came into this world, and God chose the day he came out. So
That's
yeah,
amazing. You
it
have any
is.
moments when you feel like things are just too much to handle?
Every time like when it's I still have my monthly, so definitely around that time I get super emotional. Like I know when I'm about to come on because my emotions, I'm just so it hurts more than normal. So I dread that time of month because I just know like I'm sensitive, I'm defensive, I'm sad, I mope around, I don't have energy. Like for 2 years, 2.5 years now, it has been draining that time of the month, um, physically and mentally on me because my son's been gone. So but I definitely have moments a lot, a little less than I used to, but I'm crying still 5 days a week. Like it hasn't lightened up. I might get 2 good days.
Is there anything that gives you comfort?
Knowing he was a baby and he went straight to heaven. Knowing that heaven's so beautiful and big and wide that he can run as fast as he wants to run.
Right.
Yeah,
And those memories will stick to you. They
yeah,
definitely will. So,
definitely. Those
you,
hurt though.
but you keep them good memories tight too as well. Like,
Hmm.
don't feel like you can't think about like the death of them. You know what I mean? That's what make it so easier for you. It makes you more, even much more stronger too as well. So just coping with losing a life and just embracing their life and thinking about all the good things that y'all did, things that, his face expressions and all the, body work that he do, you know what I mean, to get
I
your
do.
attention
Yeah, he
and the
Yeah.
might be
mom
gone in the physical,
stories.
but he's still here, spirit
Yeah,
wise.
definitely. He brought us to you. You feel me?
Yeah,
Cause I
he's
was
got more
working.
scrolling on
people.
your page
Yeah,
about two
we got
days
more
ago,
people
and you just
now.
caught my attention, and I just had to
Yeah.
reach out. And I was like, I'm happy
Yeah,
she accepted my friend request.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I do anything I can to get his story out there. The more people that know about him, I know that his name will live on even after I'm gone.
It will.
That's the thing about child death. It's like once the funeral's over, everybody just moves on and forgets. But the mother, we're stuck,
Yeah.
with that hurt and that pain. And it's like, does anybody miss him just as much as I do? So that's why I do anything that I can to keep his name a podcast, anything, I want his name to still be around even when I'm gone. I know he's making his mark, and that's why I say shake the world, baby Cash. Shake them and wake
Yeah.
them up because, if a
Cause like
baby in
Jimmy
his
said, he
casket,
brought us to you.
yeah, yeah, and I said shake the world. That's his little logo now because like I want the world to feel shook when they see him laying there off of fentanyl. I didn't know what fentanyl was until he died, and it took for him to die for me to know that there's something as big as this epidemic going on, but nobody's really talking about it. So, especially when it comes to the babies, and how
Yeah.
Mamie Till felt with her son when he got lynched and stuff. She wanted the world to see. I want the world to see, and that's why
Right.
my
The
picture
more
on
you
my
keep
profile.
pushing, the more they gonna
Yeah,
see it.
yeah, yeah. And it grabs at your heart. And I wanted to. I wanted to. I wanted because had I seen a child laying in their casket due to fentanyl 2 years ago, his daddy would not have had visitations with him. Or, just it would have been so many more precautions. It would have been Narcan in his
Mhm.
diaper bag and things of that nature. That's why on his anniversary every year since he's passed, I give out like the first year was 35 diaper bags. We had everything in it, onesies, the bottles, feeding nipples and things, just anything like that. Pacifiers, bibs. But I hooked up with harm reduction and they gave me Narcan and fentanyl test strips that I can put in that, and we took them to the women's and children's shelters and the Volunteers of America where I was at and when I went and got clean. A lot of pregnant mothers that was getting off addiction and stuff like that. I took them there. They came and picked those up. That was the first year we did 35. Last year we did 20, and I gave it at a march for it was some type of march for Black women, trying to make an awareness of how a lot of Black women died in childbirth and stuff like that. So there were some mothers there that wanted the bags, and we left empty-handed. Like
Right.
so yeah. So I
And
mean, I'm
it
trying to do.
would be great too for you to reach out to women, helping women too.
I had thought about it. I thought about going to go speak at like I said, Volunteers America. They have a house called the Freedom House, where they house addicted mothers and things of that nature. And I was there for a month. Then I walked out because I'm like, I don't need a program to let me know I don't want to do this again. I'm gonna stay clean. I know I'm a strong-willed person. I've always been like it, and it doesn't take um accident after accident for me to get it. I'm one of the people I bump my head once, I ain't gonna bump it again. I learn from
Right.
my mistakes. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Now,
And
motivational speaker.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. No, that would be very nice. It would to
yeah,
go
You
around
can shake the
and talk
world with
to
that.
women and
yeah,
men too, because they need to be included as well because they need to know when they do have their child to make sure it's nothing around that your child
yes,
can get into guns,
absolutely.
everything. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
definitely we have to make sure our eyes are on the kids at all times. Like it shouldn't
Yeah,
be no way that you have so many adults in the house and kids too as well, and you're not watching all the kids as you should.
right, right,
Like it
right.
should be no way, it should be no eyes on no kid in no house.
Yes, yes, that's me. I gotta know where the babies are. I love the
Yes,
babies.
I gotta hear
Yeah,
some feet running, some
yeah.
screaming, some
yeah.
laughing, something.
That's me. That's me. When my baby got quiet, I knew he was either pooping or sleeping.
And
Like
if you and
I
if you
just had
weren't
to.
doing that, you going to see what he doing because he too
Yes,
quiet.
yeah. It's
You know
too
what I mean?
quiet. I didn't
Yeah,
like quiet.
yeah,
I did not
Yeah.
like quiet.
you ain't speaking. I gotta go check up on you. There's something going on.
Yeah,
You with something?
right,
Huh.
right.
That's amazing. And it's
Yeah,
cool that you can talk about your child too as well and let the world know like this is how you feel and this is what mothers and fathers go through at the same time,
yeah,
of losing a loved one.
yeah,
It's not easy at all when you lose a loved one.
yeah.
You go through so many things and things that you just think about. And it's just like, dang, where do I go from here? You
Right.
know,
And that's when
Yeah.
you
and
drop to your knees and pray.
all the
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
All
Because
you,
it took the autopsy for me to find out it was fentanyl, and that's when I started my mission. I didn't have a mission. I just thought he died in his sleep, and I was just mourning him, and oh, I miss my baby, oh, I miss my baby. But once I found out the cause of death, it just really ignited a fire in me because I didn't know what fentanyl was, and I'm like, how could I have prevented this? And then I learned about Narcan, and I'm like, what is Narcan? Something that reverses the fentanyl overdose. And then I found out even more. There's 4 different types of fentanyl out there that Narcan. There's 3 of them that won't reverse because they're irreversible. Yeah,
I didn't know that. Look at
yeah.
And don't make
There's
and don't feel guilty about anything.
I'm
Like
not. I'm not. If I knew
yeah,
better, I would have
don't
do better. I would have did better. So
yeah, don't feel guilty and don't feel like you're less of a person too because
right,
of what
absolutely.
happened. Because it's
Right.
not your
Yeah.
fault.
It's definitely not my fault. He
It
wasn't
just
in, he
didn't
wasn't
come
on,
out.
yeah, it didn't happen on my watch. So and it wouldn't
Yeah.
have happened on my watch. I don't keep that type of company. So
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I'm so proud of you. I mean, just by you just talking about, because it's hard to talk about that,
yeah,
in front of millions of daggone people and people, how people judge you, but they can't, you
right,
shouldn't be able to judge nobody. But at the same thing, having that comfort, everybody is comforting you too at the same time because they have lost a child too as well. And they know
right.
how it is. So
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
you keep on speaking out to all the women. Don't stop. Like
I
your voice
will.
needs to be heard at all costs. It does.
I'm in it. I'm in it till the wheels fall off. I owe my baby that. It's like basically somebody reaching down. Say you're drowning and you don't see nobody in sight, and then all of a sudden some man just reaches down and grabs you and rescues you. You feel indebted to that person. You feel like, oh my gosh, you saved my life. Like that's how I feel with my son.
feel
He
like I
saved
owe
my
him that.
life. I was drowning and he rescued me. And I just feel like I owe him everything I got in me to keep his story alive. I do.
Right. And you do. And you keep on going because you got this. And definitely,
We got you.
if you need
We got
somebody
you.
and you need somebody to talk to, you can always hit me up or Zai. Definitely, we are here. Definitely, and we can make the best of it. This is life, and this is what life is going to bring us. This is life. This is what we're going to do. You know what I mean? And sometimes we just got to toughen up and keep on smacking them out there.
Yeah.
No, for real. Like, just keep it up. Just keep it up. Just do it. You can if you do it every day. You know, he see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Definitely, and he hears us. And he hears us, and that's what's
Yeah.
gonna make you even much more stronger as a person and as a
Yeah.
Keep
mother,
pushing and keep fighting.
as a woman. Period.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and keep on looking beautiful. Definitely, because you're not ugly at all.
Yeah. With my one eyelash. I done cried
Yeah,
my
I
lashes
know,
off.
right? I didn't cry mine off 3 times today. Like I have. Like I'm over it. Just
That's all
snatch them
right.
Yeah.
You
off.
you have to look at you.
Natural
I
face
But
at
look, I'm
this
snatching
point.
that one out too then.
Yeah, it's over. It's
Looking
gone.
silly.
I'm here for you, and I'm only an hour away. So
I know, I know. We're gonna try to do a march for him on his angel
I'm
anniversary
four
because
hours
every
away. I think 3.5.
three and a
I'm
half,
about
that ain't
three
far.
and a half.
Yeah, that ain't too bad. But if y'all want to join, I always post about his march on April the 19th. I don't care what day it falls on, we do something. So
okay,
if
just
y'all would
keep
like
us
Right
to,
before my
posted.
birthday. My birthday April 30th.
the 30th, that's my niece's birthday. Okay, you're a Taurus.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a
Don't
lot of
give up.
Aprils in my family. Yeah, I can't add like my April's a bad month though for me, even though it's my birthday. I'm April the 5th. My daughter's April 16th, and Cash died April 19th. And my granny passed April the 19th too
We
in
gon' we gonna make the
2004.
best of it.
Yeah. So I always felt like she came down and got him, you know, April the 19th, the day she passed away. So but,
Well, keep
yeah.
it up, keep strong, and definitely keep
Right.
a smile on that face. And I want to know what is your next journey?
Right now, I'm just really trying to get that law passed in his honor. There is a cash act that I'm trying to pass too. It's called the Children Against Substance Harm Act. So that's
Okay.
going to I'm gonna try to get Narcan in all mothers' hands, and tell baby Cash's story, like when they're born and stuff like that at the hospitals. It's something to be
Right.
mandatory that they learn about Narcan, and because we're living in this epidemic and it's not going nowhere no time soon. And at the time that Cash had died, there was like 530 kids, that babies under 5, that had died from fentanyl, and I only knew about one. So that says a lot. Like nobody's speaking up about it. So
No,
when I found out about that, that's when I was like, well, maybe my baby just needs to lead the march. Like maybe he just needs to be the poster child for this epidemic, and he's
Yeah,
become that. He's on a lot
yeah.
of billboards. He's been on billboards. He's been, I've been on the news about him. I've been on, Steve Wilkos show about him. Been in front of legislators about him. So I'm just really trying to get that law passed,
It's gonna
whichever
pass.
one.
you keep
It's
pushing
Yeah,
and
gonna
keep
pass.
fighting.
It's
yeah,
definitely gonna pass. You messing with kids these days, so it's gonna pass. And we
yeah,
need to be
yeah,
more worried about our children these days anyway, because
yeah, absolutely.
we're losing them like crazy. Even if you
Yeah,
can go around and just give women, men fentanyl, just
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
just give it out.
The,
You
the
know,
statistics now are that it used to be gun violence that was the leading cause of 18 through 45 dying, and now it's fentanyl. So fentanyl has took over cancer, took over gun violence, took over hit and runs, took over drunken driving accidents. It's the leading cause in America for kids 18 to 45.
and
But
that's
it's
true.
hitting toddlers now. So, and nobody's really talking about that. And that's why I'm like, I don't mind, because I think my baby would really still be here if there was a mother out there talking about it. And there hasn't been. So I couldn't save
Well,
mine, but I'm gonna try to save theirs.
you the face of our mothers at this point, and for
Mm-hmm.
all those babies that's missing their mothers that's not talking about it.
Yeah, yeah,
Because it can be
absolutely.
hard for some people to talk about it because they condition probably was much more different from yours. They
Hmm.
were probably in their custody when it happened.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot.
yeah,
There's a lot of
I
that.
would, yeah, so they probably wouldn't want to talk about it because they blame themselves already, and they already know what
Exactly.
kind of backlash they're going to get because of what happened to the child in the first place.
Absolutely.
Most
Absolutely.
of those, yeah, because most of those cases can be just like that. It could be something totally different from your case, and they could have
Right.
been in their custody at that time.
Right. Right. And there's a couple of parents. There's Leo, his dad, he was 3 years old. He died last year. His dad Jake is advocating for Leo's law, which is actually about to be passed. I'm not for sure what city they're in. I don't know if it's Kansas, Arizona. I'm not for sure, but it's definitely. He went in front of legislators. He's been fighting for it because his baby's mom had unsupervised visits with his. I think it was unsupervised, but they didn't drug test her, and his son ended up dying because she had fentanyl around. So he's trying to change that to where they're mandating fentanyl testing when a child's supposed to be reunited with their kid or with their mom. And then
Mhm.
there's another baby. His name's Brecken. He was like 2. His mom's advocating. Um, Brighton. She's in Kentucky. She's in Lexington, Kentucky. Her mom got a foundation going for her. She was over her dad's family's house, and there was 4 people in that house that they had drugs under the couch, something of that nature, and the baby came in contact with it. She was 4 years old. So yeah, her mom's really vocal about what happened. So I know of a few, but like I said, out of 500 and something kids that was passed away from fentanyl when Cash had died, I don't know of that many. I can count maybe 20. So
Right. Well,
yeah,
we thank you for being the face of our mothers at this point.
thank you,
Like,
thank
because
you.
we definitely need voices out here to speak up on all
Yeah,
kind of negativity that's going on. Even if you have lost a child at 20 or 18, they still
yeah,
your child.
absolutely
And
right.
and the fentanyl just killing people regardless how old you are,
Every 11
and
minutes.
yes.
Yeah.
So definitely, I thank you for coming on here, telling your story, and letting the world know that you're not going to stop with Cash story at all. Everybody needs
Yeah.
to hear. Everybody needs to hear it. So definitely, they can have a change of mind and voice in their
Yeah, absolutely.
situation. You know,
Absolutely. Give them the
and
warning
God
I was
bless
robbed of.
you. Yes, and God bless you. Keep on
Same to
doing
you.
amazing and keep on talking good things up to existence at all times. And congratulations to your marriage. We
Thank
still
you.
how God works. So
Yes,
definitely
it
it's
does.
amazing to be a
Thank you,
person like that.
Zaire, for reaching out to me.
That's
You're so
right.
welcome. Shout out your social
Thank-
media again.
Ashley Alley favorite Green Winters. And then it has my TikTok link. I think it's Miss Ashley 1988.
Okay. I
I
like
heard
that
your
highly
word. Make
favored.
sure y'all check out her
Yes.
story.
Yeah, definitely highly favored. My daddy planted that seed, and because I did
Yeah.
have hated by most, loved by few, and my daddy said, "Don't put that on you." He was like, "Don't you speak like that? When you speak like that, it tends to happen." He said, "Why don't you put something like highly favored?" I said, "You know what? I'm gonna try that." And once I did, I became highly favored. So-
That's right. Period. And you are. We all are.
yeah.
I
Thank
already
you,
know.
guys.
We thank you for coming to tell your story. I love it. I just love it.
Thank you.
And keep in touch, definitely. Um, you can get my information from Zai,
Okay.
and definitely we can hook up and
Okay.
we can do some
Yeah.
good things. But definitely for the
Definitely.
women.
If y'all would
Yeah.
like me to come back, just let me know. I'm always available to
We
talk.
will. We will.
Okay.
Yeah. I definitely I'm gonna talk to you about that. Maybe we can do something. Keep you
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Definitely. I'm always available. I don't have no friends. I just sit with my husband all day when
Okay,
when
ain't
I'm at
nothing
work.
wrong with that. That's your friend right there.
Yes, exactly.
That's
That's
the
all
only
I need.
friend you
That's
need at this
all I
point.
need. Yeah.
Yes, that's the only person you need at
Absolutely.
this point. Nobody else included.
Right.
Well,
Well,
my
I
name
love
is
y'all
Regina.
and thank y'all for having me. It was my pleasure to be on here.
That's
You're
amazing.
welcome.
Thank you. We love you too. Always. We got to get it back. Yes, definitely. And
Okay.
you're more than welcome anytime.
Okay. Awesome.
Well,
Awesome.
my name is Regina, and I am the podcaster of Qualities of the Minds because we definitely have quality and we do have the mind. So don't you ever forget that. You get you quality. And if you don't think you quality, I'm gonna need you to go check that out. And I'm gonna give it over to my co-host and let him take us out of here.
All right.
I already know this your boy King's Eye. We like to thank y'all out there for watching us. We like to thank you, Ashley, for taking the invitation to be on our show. We most definitely love you, and we can't wait to see you again. And y'all always remember, be you, be true, be positive. I'm not telling you not to have a voice, just know when to use it. Not everything in life deserves a response. You're more than enough. Hashtag stay muted, and we out. Peace.
Awesome. I like that. Bye.
See you
See you
later.
later.